portable table saw is an indispensable tool that I set up at nearly every job site. Over the next couple of minutes, I'd like to show you some setups as well as safety tips that'll help you get the most out of your portable table saw. First, I mount it solidly to a set of horses. No matter if I'm making 1 cut or 20, it's got to be rock solid so it won't tip or shift, which can ruin the workpiece, or worse yet, part of you. Once the saw is secure, I mount the Outfeed Support, which is made from scraps of 3/4 inch ply that I keep in the truck. The two pieces are hinged. One end goes to the floor. The other end fits over a couple of protruding dowels on the plywood base near the back of the saw. I can fine-tune the height of the Outfeed to fit the terrain by sliding it in or out and then securing it with these small pieces of knotted cord. This table saw has the factory blade guard installed. I have to confess that I haven't always used the guard, but since the last time my thumb got in the way of the blade and a piece of wood shot back at me from a kickback, the guard stays on. Except, of course, those times when certain cuts can only be made without the guard. Whenever I make 90-degree cuts, which is almost always, I use a zero clearance throat plate. I like it because it keeps the thin strips from falling between the blade and the throat plate and also prevents tear out on cuts. The only downside, you can't tilt the blade to make bevel cuts. For beveled cuts, I install the factory throat plate. As I push the board through the saw, the guard keeps my hands free of the blade. As the board leaves the table, the cut end will be supported by the Outfeed setup. When the board is almost through, I use a push stick to continue the cut past the blade. Let's rip a shorter length and see how our Outfeed setup works for these cuts. As you push the material past the blade, let it drop off the end of the table onto the Outfeed ramp. Never try to catch it as it drops off. There's tons of safety tips available in your saw's manual, as well as websites to watch demonstration videos. Just Google table saw tips. You'll also find plans at these sources for making different jigs to help you get the most out of your table saw.